He was responsible for Diddy's day-to-day life, so he is able to provide a lot of information about what that life was like. He goes into detail on extensive use.
In their complaint, Diddy's attorneys were saying that NBC Universal made the assumption that their client has committed numerous heinous crimes, including serial murder, R of minors, and S trafficking of minors.
All right, buckle up, because this is the kind of story that grabs you by the collar and doesn't let go. Picture this. A high-ranking executive, someone who has spent over a decade in the inner circle of one of the most powerful figures in entertainment, is suddenly thrust into the spotlight, but not for her achievements. Instead, she's caught in the storm of dark, murky allegations swirling around her former boss. Her name? Christina Corman, a woman once hailed by Sean Diddy Combs himself as his right hand.
This is the first time that I'm speaking about it. Something that I'll never forget, actually.
Now let's set the stage. For years, Christina Corman wasn't just a behind-the-scenes assistant. She was the force ensuring that everything in Diddy's world ran like clockwork. Whether it was a multi-million-dollar deal or just his morning coffee, she made sure it all happened smoothly. To hear him tell it, she was far more than just an employee. In a 2021 social media post, Sean Diddy Combs casually referred to her by her nickname, calling her KK, and praising her unwavering dedication. KK keeps everything in my life and my business running. She's been my right hand for the last 8 years and has consistently proven to execute and get things done. Don't know how I'd function without her. Imagine being so crucial to someone's life that they publicly admit they can't function without you. That's the level of trust and influence we're talking about here.
I want you to listen to this description, because there is a whole section of that complaint dedicated to Christina Coram, where Rodney Jones basically makes the allegation that Christina Coram is the Ghislaine Maxwell to Sean Combs' Jeffrey Epstein. That's what it says. And of course, we know that she has been the associate of deceased financier Jeffrey Epstein, who ended up getting convicted of trafficking charges, sentenced to 20 years in prison.
But fast forward a few years, and that same unshakable trust is now under a microscope. The headlines? Brutal. The accusations? Even worse. Lately, Christina Corman has been called a lot of things, but one comparison keeps resurfacing. The Ghislaine Maxwell to Sean Diddy Combs' Jeffrey Epstein. Let that sink in. That's not just a throwaway reference, it's a damning implication. It paints her as an enabler, a co-conspirator, someone who allegedly played a role in facilitating some of the most jaw-dropping claims in entertainment history. And now, after months of silence, Christina has finally spoken out.
I know you said he explained all of the items that were involved in these Wild King nights. Did he mention who would participate as well?
A lot of them were unknown to him. He did mention that a lot of the women were very, very young as 20, not underage, but certainly young women.
In a statement to Rolling Stone, Christina Corman finally broke her silence, addressing the explosive allegations head-on. For months, horrific accusations have been made about me in various lawsuits regarding my former boss, she said. These false allegations of my involvement are causing irreparable and incalculable damage to my reputation and the emotional well-being of myself and my family. It's a strong opening, one that immediately casts her as a victim of what she calls an orchestrated smear campaign. And let's be clear, the stakes couldn't be higher, not just for her, but for everyone caught in the fallout of this unfolding drama.
Did Bill explain why he's speaking out now?
He said he's speaking out because he believes Diddy's a predator. He wants accountability, and he doesn't want someone like this to run unchecked in the future.
She continues, I have never condoned or aided and abetted the mistreatment of anyone, nor have I ever provided substances to anyone. Her words are carefully chosen, almost clinical, more like a statement crafted for a courtroom than a plea for public sympathy. But the real kicker, the idea that I could be accused of playing a role in, or even being a bystander to, any form of harm toward another person is beyond upsetting, disturbing, and unthinkable. She's not just denying the allegations, she's framing them as so far removed from her character that the mere suggestion is, in her own words, unthinkable. But let's pause for a second and consider the timing. Why now? Why break her silence after months of staying quiet, especially when the lawsuits have been piling up for some time? Some say it's a strategic move, an attempt to get ahead of any potential fallout as her name becomes increasingly entangled in the legal mess. Others speculate that this could be her way of distancing herself from Combs entirely, especially as his criminal trial looms. Whatever the reason, her statement has thrust her into the spotlight in a way that's as fascinating as it is controversial.
A lot of times you have him with a younger female, and there's a power dynamic there. A more impressionable girl is easier to real and consent is between the people that are engaging, and I wasn't there in these situations to understand the consent.
And let's be real, this isn't just about Christina's statement. It's about what that statement represents. By speaking up, she's stepping into the ring, whether she likes it or not. And in doing so, she's opened the floodgates to even more questions. Is she truly innocent, as she claims? Or is this just damage control? A last-ditch effort to salvage her reputation before things spiral further? And if she is innocent, what does that say about the broader allegations against Diddy? Are they being exaggerated? Or is there more to the story than we've been told?
In the moment, it just felt like, what? Like, is this fun for him? Is this a test?
This is where things get even murkier. Christina's statement comes at a time when multiple lawsuits have painted a damning picture of life inside Diddy's inner circle. Plaintiffs describe a toxic ecosystem, one where employees were allegedly coerced into duties that went far beyond their job descriptions. And in many of these lawsuits, Christina's name keeps coming up. She's been accused of everything from turning a blind eye to actively facilitating some of the most shocking claims against her former boss. One lawsuit even alleges that she required employees to carry bags stocked with illicit items, insisting it was part of their job to be prepared for anything. And then, there's the infamous phrase that has become shorthand for some of the most outrageous allegations against Diddy, Wild King Nights. According to former employees, these were chaotic, days-long events that often left hotel rooms in what one person described as wreckage, and who was allegedly responsible for coordinating the chaos? You guessed it, Christina. One former assistant even claimed that she was the one to alert staff when Diddy was gearing up for one of these nights, sending them scrambling to prepare everything from candles to mood lighting. The same assistant also alleged that Christina was the one who would inform him when it was all over, then tasking staff with cleaning up the aftermath.
Well, I think it's heating up, and I think she has to make that statement at this point because a lot of people are making accusations. I'm sure there's an issue in terms of the federal investigation and what's going on with the federal investigation and if they're going to be interviewing her or using her as a witness. So my belief is all those things are coming to a head.
But here's where things get even more complicated. Christina's alleged role wasn't just about logistics. According to the lawsuits, she's also accused of downplaying complaints from employees who felt uncomfortable or unsafe. One particularly shocking claim stands out. A former producer allegedly confided in Christina about an incident involving Diddy, an incident that, according to them, crossed every imaginable line. Her response? You know, Sean will be Sean. That phrase alone has taken on a life of its own, becoming a symbol of the culture of silence and complicity that some say thrived within Combs's empire.
In normal trafficking cases, you think of something a lot different than those accusations. And I do believe that she didn't know the details of everything that was going on. I don't really find it plausible to believe that she didn't know anything was going on.
And yet, Christina insists she's innocent. She claims she was just another employee doing her job, and that the allegations against her are nothing more than an attempt to drag her down alongside her former boss. But if that's true, why are so many people pointing the finger at her? Is she being scapegoated, a convenient target for those looking to take down someone higher up the food chain? Or is she, as some have suggested, an integral part of the very system that allowed these alleged abuses to occur?
Some kind of statement. I don't see this statement hurting or helping her. You know, it's one of those innocuous statements that's essentially like, let's wait and see how things turn out. I'm going to be vindicated. You know, that's kind of the standard when it comes to these statements that are made and the individual that are stating it. It's just, like I said, I think the heat is starting to be turned up on a lot of these different cases, criminal and civil.
One thing's for sure, Christina's statement has only added another layer of intrigue to an already tangled web. While she may be hoping to clear her name, her decision to speak out has only raised more questions. For instance, will she be called as a witness in Diddy's upcoming trial? And if so, what will she say? Will she double down on her claims of innocence? Or will she turn on her former boss in an attempt to save herself? These are the kinds of questions that keep people glued to their screens, refreshing their feeds for the latest updates. And let's not forget the bigger picture. This isn't just about reputation, it's about survival. If these allegations stick, Christina's career in entertainment could be over. But if she manages to clear her name, she could emerge as a whistleblower, someone who stood up against a powerful figure and lived to tell the tale. Either way, her story is far from over. And as the lawsuits keep piling up, one thing is crystal clear: the world will be watching.
Case, do you believe a statement like this, and given the allegations against her, does this give you a clue about her potential role in this criminal case? In other words, do you think she could be called as a witness by either the prosecution or the defense?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine any universe where she's not called as a witness by either the defense or the prosecution. If someone is...
So here's the real question. Can Christina Corman's carefully crafted statement shield her from the storm that's brewing? Or has she just poured gasoline on a fire that was already threatening to consume her? Because let's be honest, if there's one thing people love more than a scandal, it's a scandal with layers, twists, turns, the kind of behind-the-scenes drama that keeps you awake at night, scrolling for updates. And Christina, whether she likes it or not, has become one of the most talked-about players in what might just be one of the most explosive sagas in entertainment history. Now let's dive into the lawsuits, because wow, they are something else. First up, Rodney Lil Rod Jones, Jr. A., producer who worked closely with Diddy on his 2023 album, The Love Album, Off the Grid. And Jones isn't pulling any punches. He's gone on record comparing Christina to, you guessed it, Ghislaine Maxwell, claiming she wasn't just a passive observer, but an active participant in a system designed to control people and allegedly cater to Diddy's most outrageous whims. And Jones doesn't stop there. According to him, when he raised concerns about inappropriate behavior, Christina brushed them off, dismissing it as just another part of working for Diddy. Her reported response? You know, Sean will be Sean. That's the kind of line that stops you in your tracks, isn't it? Casual, almost dismissive. But it speaks volumes about the culture of silence that multiple people are now accusing Diddy's inner circle of perpetuating.
Next suit is filed by a man from California who claims Sean Combs raped him in 2009.
But wait, there's more. Jones's lawsuit goes even further, alleging that Christina wasn't just a bystander, she was directly involved in managing Diddy's world of excess. According to him, she orchestrated the logistics for events that some might call chaotic and unrestrained. Think, hotel suites transformed into elaborate stages for days-long celebrations, all allegedly overseen by Christina to ensure every detail was handled, and it doesn't stop there. Jones even claims that Christina instructed staff to carry around small bags filled with, let's just say, party supplies, always ready, to cater to any request that might arise. If that sounds like something out of a Hollywood script, it's because it almost feels too outrageous to be real. But here's the thing. The allegations keep piling up, and Christina's name keeps coming up.
And every day I'm working on that case. Every day we're figuring something out. Every day we're talking to investigators. And that's essentially what Alex did on this case.
And then there's Phil Pines, another former assistant, and yet another bombshell accusation. Pines' claims don't just add to the controversy, they pour gasoline on it. According to him, Christina wasn't just aware of what was happening, she actively worked to keep it all under wraps. At one point, he alleges, she warned him to stay quiet about an incident he witnessed, even hinting at serious repercussions if he didn't. Repercussions. That's not just a subtle nudge, that's a full-blown red flag waving in your face, but it doesn't stop there. Pines also claims he was stuck with the unenviable job of cleaning up after Diddy's infamous Wild Nights. And from the way he describes it, these weren't just over-the-top parties. These were scenes of absolute chaos, so much so that Pines admitted he would cringe at the memory of what he had to witness and clean up.
I believe that it opens yourself up to some negligence claims. Again, I don't know if Jay-Z is going to go that far, but certainly I think it does open himself up to some negligence claims. Maybe that was part of the reason why he dismissed with prejudice. I don't know.
And here's where it gets even more complicated. Pines isn't just accusing Christina of turning a blind eye. He's painting her as someone who allegedly played a central role in maintaining the illusion of normalcy around Diddy's lifestyle. According to him, Christina wasn't just managing staff. She was allegedly pulling the strings behind the scenes. Need certain guests at an event? She handled it. Need something covered up? She made sure it stayed quiet, and the lawsuits don't stop there. Another plaintiff, a woman from San Francisco, has also named Christina in her legal complaint, alleging that she was threatened before a deeply unsettling incident. Christina, of course, has denied all allegations, but with the sheer number of accusations piling up, one thing is clear. The questions surrounding her role are impossible to ignore.
Potentially, it could be a conflict with the client, right? A disagreement. They just don't get along. The communication is poor. They don't agree on defense strategy. It could be a conflict with one of the other lawyers. Obviously, seems like Agnifilo is the lead on this case, although Rico was certainly his 1B.
Now let's talk about the timing of Christina's statement, because this is where things get really interesting. Why now? Why come forward after months of silence? Some observers believe her statement is a calculated move, perhaps even a preemptive strike to distance herself from the increasingly damning allegations against Diddy. Others speculate that Christina might be preparing to testify in Diddy's upcoming criminal trial, a move that could either help or destroy her, depending on how things play out. Because if she does take the stand, her testimony could be pivotal. After all, as someone who worked so closely with Diddy for years, Christina likely knows where all the proverbial skeletons are buried. The question is, will she reveal them? And let's not forget the broader implications. Christina's decision to speak out has put her in a precarious position. On one hand, she's trying to clear her name and protect her reputation. On the other, her statement has only drawn more attention to her alleged role in Diddy's inner circle, effectively making her a central figure in this entire saga. It's a risky move, one that could backfire spectacularly if the allegations against her are proven true. But if Christina is innocent, as she claims, then this statement might just be the first step in reclaiming her narrative and shifting the focus away from her and onto Diddy.
And I know obviously there's other lawyers on the case. Obviously, a lot of the victims are female. They're going to want female lawyers on the defense team, especially during some of the aggressive cross-examination. That tends to be the conventional wisdom when you're dealing with victims who are alleged victims of assault or abuse. And then it could be a conflict with one of the victims themselves. Maybe maybe Rico consulted with them or even represented them.
But here's the thing. Christina's statement hasn't just sparked conversation. It's raised serious questions about her true motivations. Is she genuinely trying to set the record straight? Or is this a calculated move, a desperate attempt to protect herself as the legal battles surrounding Diddy intensify? And then there's the bigger question. What about the other lawsuits that have named her as a defendant? Will her statement help her case? Or will it only add another layer of complexity to an already high-stakes, tangled situation?
I think it has to be the defense, the consent, because, look, sometimes you can argue that this activity never happened, right? It wasn't me, defense. But this is not your typical assault case. There are a lot of people there, right? There are people that are arranging the workers. There are people that are setting up lights and cameras, booking hotel rooms. Obviously, Diddy has a large entourage, so...
One thing's for sure, Christina Corman's story is far from over. As the lawsuits continue to unfold and Diddy's criminal trial looms, all eyes will be on her. What will she do next? Will she stand by her former boss? Or will she cut ties completely to save herself? And how will her statement shape the broader narrative surrounding Diddy and the mounting allegations against him? These are the questions everyone is asking, and the answers could have far-reaching implications, not just for Christina, but for everyone caught in this tangled web of accusations and counterclaims. And then there's the court of public opinion, where the battle is already raging. Christina's statement has sparked a firestorm of reactions. Some believe she's being unfairly targeted. Others see her as complicit in the alleged wrongdoing. Social media is ablaze. Some users are dissecting her every word. Others are questioning her timing. It's a classic case of trial by public opinion. And Christina is right in the middle of it.
Jay-Z is speaking out this morning after the civil suit accusing him and Sean Diddy Combs of rape was dropped. NBC's Chloe Malas is here with more.
As Christina Corman's statement continues to stir controversy, one thing is certain. There are more questions than answers. Do you believe her claims of innocence? Or is there more to her story than meets the eye? And how will her statement impact the ongoing legal battles surrounding Diddy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more updates on this ever-evolving drama. Until next time, stay curious.